Hello, friends. Welcome, welcome. Hi, it's Brooke-Sidney here, your mindset and manifestation coach. And today I wanted to talk about, I've done a TikTok and a YouTube short on the fact that you are currently programming your next relationship. Yes, you are programming your next relationship. And as you can imagine, it has piqued the interest of a lot of people. So I know that I need to go a little bit further. But before I jump in, I want to remind you that I offer one-on-one coaching as well as email coaching. I have a free Facebook group called the Conscious Creators Community. All of that information is loaded below, but I want to encourage you to really get serious about up-leveling your life, about reprogramming your mind so that you can manifest miracles like daily. And today I'm talking about relationships because that's on the hearts and minds of so many, and I can relate to it as well. So let's jump into it. So I wanted to talk about how you are currently, whether you're in a relationship or not in a relationship, in this present moment, you are currently programming your next relationship. And by programming, let's start there. What is programming? Programming is essentially creating your thoughts and belief systems, and beliefs are simply thoughts that you keep thinking over and over and over again. So by programming, you are creating your consistent or your dominant thoughts about something, your dominant belief system. That becomes the program that we run. Unfortunately, for many of us, no, I'm going to say all of us have subconscious programming that's running. The more that we get in touch with ourselves and the more that we allow our life and the 3D, right, the things that we're manifesting to become mirrors for us and lessons, the more we can figure out what those subconscious programs are. But the first key that I want you to understand is that you are creating this code. You are creating this program. You're either consciously creating it or unconsciously creating it. So all the things that are going around in your mind, your self-concept, which is how you see yourself, as well as your belief systems, are programming yourself in your relationship from this day forward. So you can think about your new relationship as being programmed with your dominant beliefs and systems, ways of thinking that you have now, the way you show up, the way you think about love, the way you think about relationships. Unless there's some sort of interrupter, you are going to continue to operate in that way, and that program is going to continue to run. That's why I was saying now is the time to do the work if there is something that you don't like. So let's go to the second part. How do we change it? So maybe you're in a couple of situations. Maybe you have had a recent breakup. Your fault or not, whether you are the one who decided to break up or your partner did, it really doesn't matter, because again, we're looking at this relationship and the breakup for insights, lessons, hints, kind of clues as to your subconscious programming, right? You want to look at whatever is happening right now as clues to the way that you've been thinking, right? The way that your past thoughts have worked, your self-concept, as well as these subconscious programming that's occurring right now, because we're powerful. And once you know what it is, you can actually change it, right? So whether you're in a relationship and things are not going the way that you want them to be, maybe it's that there's constant conflict, you're feeling levels of toxicity, or maybe you're not feeling heard or seen in the relationship or supported, or maybe the relationship is just not going to where you want it to go. Perhaps you want it to progress to a more stable relationship, a long-term relationship, a marriage, and it's not going. Whatever is showing up for you in this quadrant or this area of your life, I want you to take a good hard look at it. Look at the things that you don't like. Look at the things that make you feel a certain way. Pay attention to them. If you can get very, very conscious, start looking at the things that are triggering you, the things that are making you not feel good about the relationship or where you are. And obviously, if you had a breakup, look at what contributed to the breakup. Look at what happened. Look at the months before the breakup, or, any of these things. You want to play detective here, right? Step back from judgment, step back from blame, but you want to play detective. Now that brings me to the second point on how do we do this, is that you need to own your part. So many of us remain in the victim mode. When something bad happens to us, we blame everything outside of us, or we blame the other person, or we blame the job, or we blame, the economy, we blame the news, we blame the media. I'm going to invite you to step into the victor role, to step into the victor and creator version of you that knows that somehow between your conscious and your subconscious beliefs, you manifested whatever situation you're in, be it a breakup or a relationship that is not having you feel fulfilled or is having problems. Either way, you manifested it. And I personally choose to believe that whatever I manifested for my highest and best good. It's here to help me up level. It's here to help me upgrade. So I need you to get on board with owning your part, to get on board with truly understanding yourself as a conscious creator, as a powerful manifester, as the victor and not the victim, and the queen or king in this situation that has the ability to change it, right? Because if you created it and you own your part, guess what? You can create something new. So third part, right? And how do you change it? Is this goes in line with Neville Goddard's theory of there's no one to change but you, right? It also goes into the same idea of everyone is you pushed out, meaning everything that we're seeing in our environment and our 3D is a mirror of our inside. It's a mirror of the way that we see ourselves, right? And I know it sounds hokey or even sounds metaphysical, but we know that's true. If you look at any personal development work from like Franklin Covey to Tony Robbins to Brian Tracy, I mean, I can keep going on. Everyone talks about your thoughts create your life. Your thoughts are the only thing that you can change. So when you change your mind about something, everything else changes. This is not new stuff. Like, this is not even, to me, woo-woo. It's very like science, very personal development. It's also psychology. So we know that like that other person, we know that the way that we interact with them and the way our relationship has developed is how we see life. It's how we see ourselves. It's how we are used to interacting. That's why a lot of people go out and they get all these new tools. They start learning about, hey, healthy communications. They might even get a therapist. But until you actually decide that you want to do more than the actions and more than the behaviors, that you want to get to the root of the cause, which is internal, it's really hard to be consistent in those actions, those change actions, until we've gone internally and kind of met them at the root. And for most of us, that is our inner child issues, our inner child wounds, the problems that we have seen show up habitually in our life, and the way that we have chosen to deal with them. So most of us, I know they say it in psychology all the time, most of our relationships are showing our inner child wounds. They're showing the things that are dying to be healed. I feel like the things that are calling out for healing and love and support. Your inner child is here right now, asking for you to see them, asking for you to support them, asking for you to help them, asking for you to show up for them. So whatever you're not getting in your relationship, whatever you feel like is the cause of the fracture, whatever the other person was doing, start asking yourself, am I doing that for me? Is there a part of the younger me, maybe the 5-year-old me, that didn't have that need met? When we start looking at those things and then start being it for ourselves, and that's a whole separate video that I'll go into. So make sure you're subscribed and following this channel and your notifications are on. But when we start attending to that inner child in us, you're really going to see things shift, right? Which means we've decided what we want to change about ourselves. The moment we started taking on that work, I tell you, I kid you not, you will see your life shift. You will see your life shift. When you decide what you want to change and start actively working on it, then you'll start to see in a while the 3D catch up. Sometimes it's not instantaneously, depending on how long the old program has been running, but you'll start to see it. Which gets to my fourth point under how do you change it, is that the outer world will conform. It has no choice but to conform. I can say that to you on like this spiritual level of like Neville Goddard, and again, everyone is you pushed out, your inner world is reflected in your outer world. But I can also say it to you on a very practical matter. Once you start, it's like a Wayne Dyer thing. When you start to look at things differently, the things that you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, what you're looking at changes. So when you adjust your point of view, when you adjust the way you see things, when you take off these old, dirty, orange filtered glasses and you put on like bright and shiny ones that are like pink and gold and rainbow and vibrant, and they allow you to see everything through love or through hope or through patience or through the way that you've created in your imaginal state, make sure you check out my video about manifesting your life from your imagination. And you start using your tools, your scripting. I have a video about scripting and your affirmations. I got one about the importance of all of the affirmations. So once you start using the tools after you discover the things that you want to change, it's going to change as long as you persist until it does. Your outer environment has no choice but to conform, right? The external reality has no choice to conform. It's always going to be how you see it. We overcomplicate this, to me, very simple concept. Everyone is you pushed out. What does that mean? Is people don't have free will and all these other things that people start talking about? Skirt, let's slow down. Your world is going to be dictated by how you see it, how you see yourself and how you see everything. So look at it that way. The moment you start seeing yourself different and you start thinking about things differently, you are going to see your world differently. Period, point blank. I invite you to comment below because you know that it's true. The moment that you go to another level, you start seeing things totally different. The moment, like a lot of people, this happens when they start on their spiritual journey and they start living more from the heart space. So now they're starting to see things to be grateful for. They're starting to see more things to be compassionate about. It taps into our reticular activating system, our RAS. Like when you decide you want to buy, a yellow Volkswagen Bug car, then all of a sudden you see a whole bunch of them. Our mind starts scanning for things. This is how our brain works. So many of you think this is woo-woo and metaphysical. No, it's actually psychology, personal development, and mindset work. So the moment you start programming your mind to look for the things that are in alignment with the story about yourself and about your specific person, your relationship, about who you are in that relationship, your outer world will line up to it. Your brain is going to make it so, especially if that's the dominant program and that becomes your natural assumption, right? And at that point, my last point about it, that's when you've reprogrammed. You've reprogrammed your next relationship or your current relationship, the next step, the next part, the next level of it, by the thoughts that you are thinking now and by making the conscious choice to up-level, upgrade, and reprogram them to the life that you want to live, to the world that you want to see, right? We are the creators of the world that we see. It occurs up here. That's why everyone can have all these different opinions and thoughts on the same thing, because we're coming from our world, our perspective. So I invite you to reprogram how you see yourself and how relationships work for you, and take whatever situation you're in, be it space, no contact, a break, or just turbulence in your relationship. Instead of getting upset, work to get clear. work to get understanding on the subconscious programming that's occurring in your life right now, and choose to see it for your highest and best good, and then do the work to reprogram it to manifest your best self and your best relationship and all the things that you want in life. And then you've stepped into the world of becoming a conscious creator and manifester. And of course, if you need help, I'm here. All that information for email and one-on-one coaching is below. Get into the group. I just created this group. I'm super excited about it. I would love to have you. And make sure you subscribe and leave some comments below. Have an amazing day.